Good job. You guys are my hero.
Oh my God.
Oh, is that our bus?
Is it?
So welcome to Leith, Constitution Street, named after Constitution Hill in Hyde Park in London. And these are the old assembly halls. They used to hang pirates here up until 1833. It's a Corn Exchange building there, and look who we have here. The Bard himself, Scotland's national cad. We're actually in my hometown of Leith. And guess what? This is where it's alleged that his first child was actually to a Leith barmaid. I know the name of the child, but I've never been able to find out the name of the Leith barmaid, or indeed the pub, or if it's even still there. The building with the green dome is called the Corn Exchange. There's the Bard. Robert Burns, on his 263rd birthday. The statue was just unveiled today. Quite lucky, aren't they? It was put here by the Leith Burns Club. And I'll tell you a bit more about this statue in a little second. I'm just going to quickly show you a little bit of Leith. It's called Bernard Street, this street here. And that's named after King James VI and 1st of England's favourite manservant, Bernard Lindsay. And all the construction work you can see here are for the trams connecting us to Edinburgh once again. There isn't actually too many buildings left from the period when Robert Burns would have frequented Leith. Leith had a reputation for sex workers. It was the main port for Scotland for a couple of hundred years. And obviously the docks have always attracted sex workers. And believe it or not, this beautiful building here, this Victorian building, this was originally built for the Sailor Society. But it actually deteriorated over the time. And it became known as the Angel Hotel. I'll just zoom in above the door here and you'll see why. There's a little angel above the door. You see the little angel there? And that's who the sailors would pray to. It actually became a brothel, believe it or not. This became a brothel. A very fancy looking brothel, I'm sure you'll agree. It was changed in 1995 to the Malmaison Hotel. It was Malmaison's hotel, first hotel. They spent £1 million in it, and it actually helped the regeneration of Leith as well. However, this turreted little building here would have been here. This is 17th century. It was actually a windmill, believe it or not. But during the Napoleonic Wars, it was twice the height. The windmill was taken down, the top half, and it became a signal tower. They would send out signals. They would have a flag system, and they would send out messages, and also tell the captains how deep the river was here. The area is now known for seafood restaurants and Michelin star restaurants. It's the fourth hippest place in the world to live. They're building the world's first vertical whisky distillery here. I'm just going to zoom in for you. You can zoom in. You see the building in the background there with the cranes? That's the world's first vertical whisky distillery. They didn't have enough room. They only had a small amount of space, so they've had to build it up the way. The bridge is called the Victoria Swing Bridge. And this is called the Water of Leith. Isn't it beautiful? Can you make out the name of the little barge there? Mary of Guise. She was the mother of Mary, Queen of Scots. Her husband was King James V of Scotland. And she actually ruled Scotland from here in Leith. Isn't it lovely? Look at the reflections today. How still the water is. They're little offices now. This is actually a floating hotel. Well, it's going to be a floating hotel now, yeah. The Fingal, Edinburgh's luxury floating hotel, is just around the corner. That's owned by the people who own the Royal Yacht Britannia. It's £1,500 for one evening. And over here, this is Customs House. Because Leith was the port for Scotland, they had to have an office so they could register the goods coming in and out of Leith. But this has got a darker side. Up until 2001, this was actually a prostitution tolerance zone. Leith became notorious in the 1980s for unemployment, poverty and drug addiction. Obviously the movie called Trainspotting tells you all about it here. And this used to be a really rough area. You couldn't have really come here, to be honest. And this pub here, see, it's all changed now. It's all Michelin star restaurants and so on. And this pub here, Hemingway's, this restaurant, it's actually a bar called Farley's Bath. And the guy used to keep a puma in the bar. And he used to threaten the customers if they got too rowdy, he would release the puma. The puma actually escaped one night and went on a little bit of a rampage. That was the end of the puma. And you see how some of the Dutch style gables here. Scotland has a massive trading links with the Netherlands stretching back probably further than the 17th century. And the pub over here, it's called the King's Walk nowadays. It's a lovely Scottish bistro type pub, a gastro pub, that had a darker reputation. And perhaps this is why Rabbie Burns used to come here. It used to be called the Jungle, notorious for sex workers and so on. And then the restaurant called the Granary was actually a nightclub called the Manhattan. It was more like the Bronx than the Manhattan. But isn't Leith lovely? No wonder Robert Burns used to come down here. So if you ever come to Edinburgh, please consider coming down to the Port of Leith and book me for a tour. You see this building here? This used to make whisky barrels. It's a cooperage, and this was one of the first houses that was converted from an old warehouse. And you could buy a house there for £30,000. I reckon it'll be worth slightly more than that now.